WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury. Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%.
The WNBA is in full-blown panic mode, and it all comes down to one name: Caitlin Clark. The league's television ratings have crashed by more than 50% since her injury, and the Indiana Fever's viewership alone dropped over 53%. That's not just a dip, that's the kind of freefall you only see when someone forgets to pack a parachute. What was supposed to be the most exciting year in WNBA history has turned into a ratings disaster, leaving executives scrambling to figure out how to stop the bleeding. The harsh reality is staring everyone in the face. Without Clark on the court, the WNBA looks less like a growing professional league and more like a test broadcast from a broken cable box.
Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit?
People tuned in when she played, ESPN pushed her highlights, fans filled arenas, and casual viewers finally gave the league a shot. But the second she went down, the interest didn't just fade, it vanished. Now here's where things get even more dramatic. Reports have surfaced that Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has gone into full desperation mode.
To make matters worse, and this is something I have definitely noticed in the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially since the All-Star game, the WNBA seems to be struggling to maintain interest,
pushing the Fever to hint at Clark's return just to keep viewers from tuning out completely. That's right, instead of addressing the actual problems, like player safety or consistent officiating, the solution was apparently, can you dangle Caitlin in front of the fans a little longer? And that's where the story takes a darker turn. If the league's entire future depends on one player, it's not just fragile, it's broken, and the panic behind the scenes shows exactly how dependent they've become on her. So let's talk about that commissioner for a second. Kathy Engelbert is supposed to be the one protecting the league, protecting its stars, and building momentum for the future. Instead, she's been caught in a mess that feels more like damage control than leadership. When the ratings nosedived, the first thought wasn't, how do we fix officiating? Or how do we make sure players stop getting wrecked on the court? It was, how fast can we get Caitlin Clark back on TV?
You want to promote the sport. You put that girl up in there, and people were appalled.
That's the desperate phone call the Fever allegedly got. Do us a favor, tease her return, give the fans hope. It's the kind of move you'd expect from a late-night infomercial, not a professional sports league. And yet, this is where the WNBA finds itself. This season was hyped as the breakthrough moment, a chance to step into the spotlight, finally put years of growth into action, and prove the league could thrive on its own. Instead, it feels like watching a reality show contestant trip on the first step of the stage. Embarrassing, preventable, and impossible to cover up. But here's where things really start to unravel. If Engelbert has to rely on one player to keep the league alive, what happens when Clark can't play at all? What happens if the injuries continue, if the protection never comes, and fans get tired of waiting?
Well, what does this mean, Rhodes? Well, how about this? Pay us what you owe us. That looks like a ham sandwich and some Lay's tater chips right now.
That's not a strategy, that's a countdown clock. The ratings disaster didn't just stop at regular season games. The playoffs, supposed to be the crown jewel of the season, completely fell apart. Numbers dropped, arenas emptied, and broadcasts that were supposed to feel electric ended up with the atmosphere of a middle school scrimmage. Remember, this was the year the WNBA thought it would capture mainstream America. They imagined packed arenas, viral highlights, and endless ticket sales. Instead, fans are staring at half-empty stadiums while the league pumps out social media posts pretending everything is exciting.
Caitlin Clark is getting beat up in these games. The refs aren't calling anything. Kathy Engelbert seems to have air between both of her ears.
If anything, the only thing exciting right now is how quickly viewers are changing the channel. ESPN hasn't been much better. At one point, the network was blasting Caitlin Clark highlights everywhere, but the moment she hit the injury list, coverage slowed to a crawl. Suddenly, games weren't making SportsCenter, clips weren't trending on Twitter, interest evaporated, and the league looked powerless to stop it. And this is where the spiral really begins. Because once fans stop caring about the playoffs, once empty seats become the norm, it's nearly impossible to claw back momentum.
You don't hold the referees accountable. Instead, what do you guys do? You allow targeting to take place in this league.
For the WNBA, this isn't just a temporary setback, it's proof their entire growth plan was built on quicksand. Now let's get to the biggest elephant in the room, player safety. Caitlin Clark has been targeted all season long. Defenders have hacked her, shoved her, and sent sent her flying into the scorer's table. And what did the referees do? Nothing. They swallowed their whistles as if protecting the league's biggest star was some radical concept. The NBA treats its stars like priceless works of art. Touch LeBron James the wrong way, and the refs blow the whistle instantly. But in the WNBA, Clark gets mauled and officials wave play on. That isn't just negligence, it's self-sabotage. Fans tuned in to see Clark play, not to watch her turned into a crash test dummy. And when she landed on the injury list, those fans didn't stick around. They left. Because if the league won't protect its own stars, why should viewers care?
And when you think about injuries this season in the WNBA, it has been quite absurd how many players have gotten injured. Nafisa Collier currently still out. Caitlin Clark has been out more than she has played this season. Angel Reese has had a long stretch of games that she's been out.
And here's the critical point most people miss. This isn't about favoritism. This is about survival. Protecting players isn't optional. It's the foundation of a professional league. Without it, everything crumbles. And right now, the cracks are showing everywhere. The injury epidemic hasn't stopped with Clark. Sophie Cunningham, a rising star and fan favorite, is out for the entire season. Gone, done, another big name erased from the marketing campaigns. And just when fans thought it couldn't get worse, Angel Reese stunned everyone by quitting mid-season. Think about what that says. Reese was supposed to be part of the new generation, a fresh face for the league. Instead, she walked away. And in a league already hemorrhaging stars, that decision sent a brutal message. WNBA players don't just get hurt, they get fed up. For fans, this season hasn't been about great basketball. It's been about scrolling injury reports and wondering who's next to vanish. That's not a league on the rise. That's a league on life support. And the ripple effect is brutal. Every lost star means fewer fans tuning in, fewer tickets sold, and more pressure on Clark to carry the entire league on her back.
Kathy Engelbert, this is what happens when you don't protect your superstar. This is what happens when you don't protect your cash cow. This is what happens when you allow gambling to run rampant in your league. I just had to throw that in there because that's what's taking place.
One injury has exposed just how fragile the WNBA truly is. If the injuries weren't bad enough, the officiating this season has been nothing short of a comedy sketch. Fans have compared referees to carnival workers, mall food court employees, and even roller derby judges. And honestly, they aren't wrong. Calls have been so inconsistent that you'd get more accuracy shaking a Magic 8 ball. One game, a hard shove gets ignored completely. The next game, someone sneezes too hard and it's an ejection. The randomness has left players frustrated, coaches boiling over, and fans laughing at the absurdity. If referees had their own stat sheet this season, it would be bad calls every possession. But this isn't just about jokes. Bad officiating destroys trust. It cheapens the game, frustrates players, and sends viewers running for something else to watch. You can't grow a league when every whistle feels like a coin flip.
We already watched the ticket prices drop by more than 50% because Caitlin Clark was not playing.
And here's the kicker. Instead of fixing it, the league doubled down on denial. Engelbert acts like the referees are doing a fine job, while everyone else can see the games turning into unwatchable chaos. That's not leadership, that's willful blindness. Now let's talk about the money. Ticket sales have collapsed and attendance numbers are embarrassing. Arenas that were supposed to be sold out thanks to Caitlin Clark are suddenly half empty. Fans who paid premium prices earlier in the year are left staring at rows of vacant seats echoing louder than any referee whistle. The WNBA promised growth, but what it delivered was overpriced tickets for underwhelming games. That's not a recipe for loyalty. That's a recipe for frustration. Even die-hard supporters are questioning whether it's worth showing up when the stars are gone and the product looks like a glorified scrimmage. And yet, the league continues to act as though everything is fine. Social media posts gush about another exciting night of WNBA action, while fans flood the comments with memes of tumbleweeds and empty stands. The disconnect couldn't be clearer, but this is where the damage really sets in. Once fans feel cheated, whether it's by ticket prices, poor play, or false hype, it's nearly impossible to win them back. And right now, the WNBA is losing them by the thousands. And then there's the PR spin. If there was ever an Olympic sport for denial, the WNBA would take home the gold medal. ESPN avoids showing how far ratings have fallen. The league pumps out highlight reels of minor plays, pretending the season is electric. But fans aren't fooled. They see the empty seats, they see the declining numbers, and they know exactly what's happening. The sad truth is that spin only makes things worse. When fans feel lied to, they don't just lose interest, they lose respect. And once respect is is gone, loyalty vanishes with it. This was supposed to be the moment the WNBA won credibility with casual viewers. Instead, it's become a punchline. And that brings us to the wasted opportunity. Because Caitlin Clark did something no one else had managed in years. She made people care. She brought new eyes to the league. But thanks to poor leadership, those eyes are already looking away. Think about how rare this window really was. Caitlin Clark was a once-in-a-generation star. She had the hype, the skill, and the audience. When she played, ratings soared, arenas filled, merchandise sold. For the first time in decades, the WNBA had real momentum. And yet, instead of protecting that momentum, the league squandered it. Clark got targeted until she landed on the injured list. Cunningham was lost for the season. Reese quit in frustration, and the officials made every game look like amateur hour. It's not bad luck, it's bad management. This season wasn't just a disappointment, it was a wasted chance. A chance to prove women's basketball could command the spotlight. A chance to turn casual viewers into lifelong fans. Instead, the league proved it couldn't protect its stars, couldn't manage its officials, and couldn't keep its audience. And that leads us straight to the harsh conclusion. The WNBA isn't failing because fans don't care. It's failing because leadership does. As this season crawls to an ugly finish, the truth is unavoidable. Ratings are circling the drain, ticket sales have collapsed, stars are gone, and the commissioner is still insisting everything is fine. But fans aren't blind, they see the empty arenas, they hear the silence around once hyped games. They know the season is a disaster. If the WNBA collapses, it won't be because women's sports can't succeed. It will be because leadership refused to protect players, ignored officiating scandals, and built everything on the back of one star without a backup plan. That's not growth, it's negligence. The sad part, it doesn't have to be this way. With real leadership, consistent officiating, and true protection for stars like Caitlin Clark, the WNBA could thrive. But until that happens, every season will be another slow motion collapse. And here's the final reality. Caitlin Clark isn't just important, she's essential. Without her, the league is already unraveling. With her, there's hope. But the clock is ticking, and unless Engelbert makes real changes, even Clark won't be enough to save it. If you're enjoying this content and want to see more deep dives into the WNBA's biggest scandals and stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and support the channel.